Hey guys. So, what I'm going to be doing is showing you a detailed instruction of exactly how I want for you to both write your investigation and then do the first part of your research of your investigation. What you'll see right here is something that I've posted on Google Classroom, which says IA investigation with comments. Now, you'll notice at the very top that it says section 2 right here. That's because your investigation is actually the second part of your total IA, but it's the major part. It's 1,300 words, and it's where you're actually answering your question. It's where all your research needs to come from. So, this is where we're starting. A couple things that I want to note. The first paragraph, what you're going to do is you're going to do contextualization for your topic. But the contextualization shouldn't be so much about the history that leads up to the topic, but more the history of the research. The history of history is called your historiography. And what you're basically going to do is outline the different historical interpretations of your topic in the first paragraph. This is going to be easier to do once you have more research. At the very end of your first paragraph, you're going to have your thesis, which would be the same as any other paper I've taught you. Like all papers I've taught you, you'll continue on with a topic sentence, but the basic layout of your research paragraphs should be that you have a topic sentence, which links back to your thesis, which is ultimately answering your question. And then you'll have to present your evidence. This is essentially your intro and summary that you would normally do for DBQ, but your evidence might need to be presented in a more precise way, including quotes and putting multiple references in a row, so multiple documents in a row to outline your evidence. Since this is evidence you're presenting to me as a part of your research, it's not evidence that I've given to you that you're then regurgitating back to me. After you've given your evidence, best papers are going to have historical interpretations of this evidence. Now, sometimes this is going to be from the historian's own evidence that then they get their interpretation on. Other times, this is going to be separate. Basically, you'll outline evidence that you found, and then you'll find historians' views on this evidence. This is largely needed to get the highest points on the paper. Going on down, this paragraph also has a counterpoint, so it's a different interpretation of the same type of evidence. This is truly the hardest part of the paper. This is how you get the highest marks, is finding different historians who view the evidence in different ways. This is the best part of the paper. You don't have to do this the entire time. Finally, you'll have some analysis. This is your own interpretation or your synthesis of both the interpretations and the evidence. This is where you're stating where you stand. Now, just again, how this paragraph goes is first starts off with topic sentence, then evidence, then historical interpretation. Then it actually goes back to the first historian's interpretation. And then this is the synthesis, analysis, overall summarization of how this paper is viewing this evidence. Topic sentence, evidence, more evidence, analysis. Notice for paragraphs like this, it's mainly evidence, very little analysis. And that's okay. Additionally, they have a counter in here. So for their paper, what they're basically writing about, they have a nuanced view of it. So they present their counter, evidence. Here's historical interpretation of that evidence, more evidence, and then analysis. Finally, they conclude their paper with a conclusion or a summary of their analysis and any conclusions that they've made to the paper. This is pretty straightforward, and this should be kind of a guideline for you when you're formatting both your research of what you're looking for and then also how you're going to write your investigation. Feel free to read this paper as many times as you need to. It graded really, really well. It got a 7. And one of the reasons why they got a 7 was how clearly they outlined their paper with the topic sentences, evidence, and then historical interpretation. How this person has introduced their historian is exactly how you should do it as well. How they introduce their evidence is very clear. Topic sentences, there's a lot that you can model from this paper.